Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this video. So you've probably found this section of this video because you're probably thinking about getting your full motorcycle license here in the UK. Well, you've probably heard of terms like A1, A2 and A license, but the question is, what do they actually mean? So stick around because I'm going to break it all down for you. The UK has a tiered motorcycle licensing system, meaning you can't just jump on a high-powered bike straight away. You'll have to work your way up. Depending on your age and experience, let's start with the first step. That is your A1 license. The A1 license is for riders aged 17 and over. This allows you to ride motorcycles up to a 125cc with a maximum power output of 11 kilowatts, or about 15 horsepower. So you'll be thinking of bikes like the Honda CB125R, your Yamaha R125, your KTM Duke 125, all those are great beginner bikes. With an A1 license you can ride on your own, but you're not allowed on motorways and you can't carry any passengers. Common questions about the A1 license. Can I remove the L plate on an A1 license? Yes, unlike a CBT, once you pass your full A1 test, you can remove the L plates, which means you don't have to ride with that silly big square stating you're a learner to everyone. Do I have to take the full test or can I stick with my CBT? You can ride on a CBT indefinitely, as long as you renew it every 2 years, but you'll still be restricted to L plates and can't take passengers or ride on motorways. The full A1 test gives you a bit more freedom, and also gives you that opportunity to upgrade in 2 years' time. So how do you get an A1 license? To get an A1 license, you need to pass the following: a CBT, a compulsory basic training, that's what we went over in the last video, a theory test, and you also need to pass the Mod 1 and Mod 2 practical tests, which I will go over in part 3 of this series. You may also be wondering, what is the motorcycle theory test? So let me explain that to you. So before you can take your full motorcycle test, whether it's for an A1, A2 or an A license, you'll need to pass the motorcycle theory test. So here's everything you need to know. So first of all, what is the motorcycle theory test? The theory test checks your knowledge of road signs, traffic laws and how to ride safely. It's made up of 2 parts. First part being the multiple choice questions, and the second part being the hazard perception test. You must pass both parts to move forward with your motorcycle training. The multiple choice questions, it includes 50 questions covering your road signs and markings, the rules of the road, the speed limits, rights of way, etc. Vulnerable road users, pedestrians, cyclists, again, etc, etc. The pass mark for this, you need to get at least 43 out of 50 correct. A tip I'd like to give is many of the questions are common sense, but some will be technical, like stopping distances. So study the highway code and the DVLA motorcycle handbook. The second part is the hazard perception test. This is a video-based test that checks your ability to spot hazards while riding. You'll watch 14 short clips, each featuring real-life road scenarios. Your task is to click when you see a developing hazard, for example, a car pulling out or a pedestrian stepping into the road. One clip will have 2 hazards. The scoring for this is you can score up to 5 points per hazard. The earlier you spot it, the more points you get. The pass mark you need for this is 44 out of 75 points to pass. And a tip for this is don't click too much or randomly, because you could get 0 points if the system thinks you're trying to cheat it. How do you book and what is the costs? You can book the test online through the DVLA website. It costs around £23 and that's as of this year. You'll need to take it in an official theory test centre, so have a look around in your local area of where that is. What happens if you fail? If you fail, you need to wait at least 3 working days before you can rebook. You only need to retake the part you failed. Use the extra time to practice with online mock tests. There's many great apps out there that you can use to help guide you in the right way and prepare you for your tests. My final tips for passing first time is use free mock tests online to practice, read the highway code and the DVLA motorcycle handbook, take your time on the multiple choice section, there's no need to rush it whatsoever, and practice hazard perception with official DVLA clips. Again, there's apps for this and I'm not too sure on websites, but you might be able to find some websites. What's next after you pass? So once you've passed the theory test, it's valid for 2 years. You can then move on to take your Mod 1 and your Mod 2 practical motorcycle tests, which will be for your A1, A2 or your full A license. If you've got any questions that I haven't covered that you are curious about, please drop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to help. Next up is the A2 licence, which you can get at 19 years old or over. This lets you ride bikes up to a 35 kilowatt or around about 47 horsepower, which is a big step up from the A1. Some great A2 bikes include the Honda CBR 500R, the Kawasaki Ninja 500, and the Yamaha MT-07 with a restrictor kit. With an A2 licence, you can ride on motorways and take a passenger. You can also ride a more powerful bike if it's been restricted to 35 kilowatts, as long as the original power wasn't more than twice the limit, and that's 70 kilowatts. Now, how do you get an A2 licence? So if you're moving up from an A1 licence, you can take the practical tests again, which would be the Mod 1 and the Mod 2. Otherwise, if you're just going straight into it, you'll have to, again, pass the following: a CBT, a theory test, and your Mod 1 and Mod 2 practical tests. Common questions about the A2 licence. Can I ride an unrestricted 600cc bike on an A2 licence? The answer to this is only if it has been restricted to 35 kilowatts and the original power wasn't more than 70 kilowatts. So just look into the bike you're getting, do some research and dig around on what power and stuff it has. What happens if I de-restrict my A2 bike? If you ride an unrestricted bike on an A2 licence, you are breaking the law. If you're caught, you could face penalties, points on your licence, or even a ban. Because in the UK, if you are caught riding a bike that you are not licensed to ride, aka a bike that's not restricted when you're riding on a restricted license, that means you are riding without insurance, which again is a punishable offence. Do I have to wait until I'm 24 to get an unrestricted bike? Not necessarily. If you've held an A2 licence for 2 years, you can upgrade to a full A licence at 21 through the Progressive Access. Now for the licence everybody wants. Next up we have the full A licence, which allows you to ride any motorcycle fully unrestricted. There are two ways to get this. So the first way is the Progressive Access, which means if you are aged 21 and over, so if you've held an A2 licence for 2 years, you can upgrade to a full A licence by passing the Mod 1 and Mod 2 tests again. And then your other option is your Direct Access, and this is for anyone aged 24 and over. With a full A licence, you can ride anything you like, whether that's a Yamaha R1, BMW S1000RR, or even just a Harley Davidson, whatever you'd like. There's no restrictions and you have full freedom. My final thoughts and advice. So which licence should you go for? If you're young and just starting out, the A1 is your first step. If you're 19 or older, the A2 gives you a solid middle ground. And if you're 24 and over, the full A licence is your ticket to ultimate riding freedom. Whatever route you take, always wear your gear, ride safe, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe for more moto content, and drop a comment below. Let me know what is your dream bike to be riding once you get your licence. And remember, ride safe, and I'll see you in the next one.